Good afternoon, everyone. New for you at 4. After a month-long internal investigation, the city of Harwood's longtime public works superintendent has been fired. The Harwood City Council voted unanimously to terminate 60-year-old Bernard Stash. Stash is facing several charges following a police standoff in rural Otter Tail County back on May 1st. Court records state he threatened a woman, threw her to the ground, strangled her, then said he was going to kill her. He's charged with second-degree assault, terroristic threats, and domestic assault. Public Works employee Jeremy Schneider will serve as interim Public Works superintendent. Also new at 4, police have released more information on the fight at Fort Knox, where a man had part of his finger bitten off. They say just before 2 a.m. on Sunday, officers responded to the fight at Fort Knox. The police report says staff member Victor Barbosa had a portion of his finger bitten off. 24-year-old Dylan Wrighton was arrested for aggravated assault and taken to the Cass County Jail, though he says he didn't bite Barbosa. The police report also alleges 26-year-old Austin Wrighton kicked one man in the face and punched another in the head. Police say he'll be referred for assault charges to the Cass County State's Attorney's Office. Austin Wrighton claims he was choked during the fight. Police are still investigating and working to identify everyone involved. We have new information on a deadly crash in Mahnomen County this morning. One person is dead after a car collided with a semi around 7:30 a.m. That happened on Highway 59 and County Road 6. Troopers say a semi driven by Ryan Kellen of Norcross, Minnesota, was heading north on Highway 59 when a car driven by 37-year-old Joshua Kraft of Fargo crossed into the lane and hit the left side of the Freightliner. Kraft was not wearing his seatbelt. He died at the scene. Hutch joins us now with a first look at your forecast. Hutch.
All right, Stacy, thanks so much as we take a look at our sky cam. First and foremost, we do have a few dark clouds up there, but notice how high they are off the ground here. High base showers, a possibility, but a lot of times they evaporate before they make their way down to the ground in dry air like we have today. Did you notice how beautiful it was? Could barely stand it. Nancy, thanks for uploading this photo, or actually video here, of this black bear kind of wandering. Hey, what's this over here? I don't know where the ranger is, but gonna have a little snack there. I don't think that's for the bears. I think that's for the birds. The weather's not for the birds. Low to mid 70s for many in the valley, 69 in Bemidji, 68 Devil's Lake. A little cooler off to the west where things have been cooler the past couple of days. On the radar, we just have hit and miss showers right now, mainly along that same boundary we've been talking about the last couple of days. So your planning forecast looks like this. Temperatures are going to be steady through the evening hours near that 70 to 73 degree mark and then fall off into the 60s. I cannot rule out a sprinkle, but like I talked about with these high base clouds out there, Stacy, a lot of raindrops don't always make their way all the way down to the ground. We do have a chance of rain. We'll talk about that as we glide through what looks like a nice and toasty extended forecast here in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
Yep.
Well, sometimes thieves aren't as bright as they think they are. In Minneapolis, robbers stole a van but left something laughable when they ditched it hours later.
They rode up on a bike. You could see he left and came back like a few times. He could only get it to go in reverse. Like 3 blocks ahead of where I was, I saw it drive across the street. I look and I'm like, there's a cell phone in here. It didn't have a passcode. It just said hold down to unlock. So I'm like, okay.
She went on to say that van was easy to spot because of its custom design for her husband's carpet cleaning business. That phone gave investigators a good start to nabbing the thieves. Authorities in Itasca County, Minnesota need help finding the suspect of a break-in at Zorbuz in Grand Rapids yesterday. He's described as a middle-aged white man with a medium build, bald, wearing black tennis shoes, a black zip-up coat, and a white hoodie with blue stripes. If you have any information, you're urged to call police. You can find that number on valleynewslive.com. Gas prices are climbing closer to $5 per gallon. The state average keeps breaking records. It's now sitting at $4.59, but we're seeing prices much higher than that. Carolyn Cummings is digging into why state lawmakers never moved forward with plans to help bring the cost down.
For a senior with a fixed income, this is robbery.
Gas prices soaring to new heights across the country.
Too damn high. It's ridiculous.
Minnesota prices fall below the national average, but we found a gas station in Crystal just shy of the $5 mark.
Sometimes I won't fill my tank all the way just because it's so expensive.
Lawmakers at the Capitol left session last month without action on proposals they pitched as solutions to pain at the pump.
This is just getting way out of control for working families in Minnesota.
DFL Representative Dan Walgamot and 5 other Democrats authored a bill suspending the gas tax from Memorial Day through Labor Day, saving Minnesotans 28.5 cents per gallon and paid for by the extra billions in a state budget surplus.
But it never got a hearing, and it didn't end up in any tax proposal, any final bill at the Capitol. Why not?
Well, we've struggled to get bipartisan support for this. To me, it's a no-brainer and something that the state of Minnesota absolutely needs to do. There is an urgency.
Minnesota Republicans condemn Democrats for voting to raise the gas tax in the past. Rising costs are a top issue they're hammering DFLers for as the midterm elections loom.
The Democrats held a press conference, proposed legislation, and then did nothing to even get a hearing on the bill, let alone bring it to the floor for a vote. That is an election year gimmick.
At least 5 states have or have had some sort of gas tax pause. Governor Tim Walz has advocated for one-time rebate checks to help with costs, but that effort rebuffed by House Democrats and Senate Republicans, though some states have acted on the same idea.
Anything would help, honestly.
Caroline Cummings, WCCO 4 News.
There could be a chance for action on any of these proposals in a special session, but at this point, it's unclear if that'll happen. An estimated 1 in 10 Minnesotans qualify for a $750 check from the state. Applications open tomorrow for people who worked the front lines during the pandemic. So who's eligible? Anyone who worked at least 120 hours from March 15th, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. And that's not limited to just healthcare workers. Jobs in childcare, food service, emergency responders, public transit, retail, and education also qualify. There are a few requirements to the frontline worker pay law. The frontline job did not provide a virtual or work from home option, and there's an income cap. You can find all the details on your VNL News app. President Biden signed 9 bipartisan bills today aimed at honoring and improving care for veterans. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs joined the president in the East Room of the White House for the bill signing. Among the efforts is an expansion of access and improvement of cancer screening and treatment for vets. Actor Matthew McConaughey spoke at a White House press briefing today to call on Congress to, quote, reach a higher ground. McConaughey, who grew up in Uvalde, Texas, shared his experience in meeting with the parents of the students that were killed in the shooting, which claimed the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers. In a highly personal 22-minute speech, he pressed on Congress to pass gun reforms that can save lives without infringing on Second Amendment rights.
We came here to speak to them, to speak with them, and to urge them to speak with each other, to remind and inspire them that the American people will continue to drive forward the mission of keeping our children safe, because it's more than our right to do so. It's our responsibility to do so.
McConaughey, who earlier this year considered a run for governor in Texas before taking a pass, met briefly with President Biden before addressing the White House press corps. The actor said he and his wife drove back to Uvalde on the day after the shooting and spent time with the families of some of the victims and others directly impacted. Low-income families will now have easier access to baby formula amid the nationwide shortage. The U.S. Department of Agriculture announced it's offering waivers so families with federal special supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children, or WIC, benefits can access formula that's not normally available to them. The products have been imported from other countries as part of a Biden administration program launched last month in the wake of the massive recall of Abbott Nutrition baby formula back in February. About half of the infant formula in the U.S. is purchased by those using federal WIC benefits. Though Abbott Nutrition reopened its baby formula plant in Michigan, it's prioritizing specialty formula for healthcare providers. Across the country, almost 74% of shelves are still empty. On Friday, President Biden tweeted that the U.S. has secured another 33 million bottles of formula from Nestle, adding that means more than 127 million bottles are heading to stores soon. Americans may soon have another option when it comes to COVID vaccines. An FDA panel spent the day evaluating the shot made by Novavax. It's made very differently than the Pfizer and Moderna shots. Elise Preston reports from New York.
An FDA panel has voted in favor of emergency use authorization for a new COVID-19 vaccine from the Maryland drug maker Novavax.
Our vaccine achieved 90% efficacy in our phase 3 study in the U.S. and Mexico, despite the majority of cases being attributed to variants.
Novavax's shot is a protein vaccine similar to traditional vaccines used for hepatitis B and shingles. The vaccine uses a protein that is mass-produced in the lab, unlike the Pfizer and Moderna shots, which teaches the body to make the protein.
Anything we can do to get people more comfortable to be able to accept these potentially life-saving medical products is something that we feel we are compelled to do.
A recent poll found 73% of Americans would like to see additional COVID-19 vaccines developed from a more traditional method. In addition to possibly appealing to millions of Americans who are unvaccinated, Novavax may also be an option for those who are not fully vaccinated or boosted because of adverse reactions to their first or second shot. Although the FDA raised concerns that the vaccine was the cause of several cases of heart inflammation, a problem also reported with other COVID vaccines. Novavax says its shot comes with few side effects.
Most events were mild to moderate and resolved in just a day or two.
Manufacturing problems have held up Novavax's entry into the vaccine market. It's already approved in 41 other countries. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Experts point out that the Omicron variant was not circulating when the Novavax vaccine was being tested. Like other vaccines, Novavax is working on an Omicron-targeted booster. The 4-day work week is getting a trial run in the UK starting this week. The pilot will last for 6 months and involves more than 3,000 workers across 70 companies, ranging from financial services to restaurants. Workers won't get a pay cut, but they will only work 80% of their full week in exchange for 100% productivity. The program is run by a nonprofit in partnership with researchers from Cambridge, Oxford, and Boston College. Calls for greater work flexibility have grown since the start of the pandemic. Similar 4-day work week trials in the U.S. and Canada will start in October.